Okie dokie. So again, y'all was saying facts. I do not disagree. Coming as a transitioning Christian, whatever you want to call it. Like I do come from Christian. Am I talking? Yes. I do come from Christian like background. Like my uncles are pastors, my aunts are first ladies, all that good stuff. My mother, Christian, she bred that into me. I very much got baptized when I was 13, 12, obviously very young, but it was all from the heart still. I did very much dedicated my life for God, everything of that nature. I wasn't recording. But my what?
I'm weak. I had to do the little finger point. You feel me? All right, my bad.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I kind of wanted to continue on from my thought before I forgot it. I'm so sorry to cut
please
you
do,
off.
please do, yeah.
So like 2 points that I wanted to talk about though too. Why like Christianity and being woke and pro-black are two things that haven't been able to mix well recently. One is that Christianity has allowed people to become somewhat complacent in regards to black issues. And then the other thing too is like recently we've been hearing more about like all Black Lives Matter, Black Trans Lives Matter, um, a whole bunch of other members of the Black community who've been oppressed by the system of Christianity, but are still Black and also being forced to, choose their Blackness over their own personal happiness as well. And, you know, it's hard for the community to come together if these people are not having their needs met. So like I did want to bring that up too.
So you're saying that even you're saying that be Danae, you're saying that the disconnect between between Christians and I guess just black people, the black pro black ideas is the obvious sins that the what Christians believe are sins, being like, changing your image to, what you're not, and with the same sex marriage interactions and everything. Very good
Yeah.
question. Very good
Well,
statement. Hmm.
I wanted to kind of respond to stuff. I don't know if I was I don't know how to word this. I want us to be careful not to say that Christianity is problematic with Black people identifying with their wokeness or
Mm-hmm.
empathizing with all Black lives, including Black gay lives, Black trans lives, and the like, because conservatism is a political term. Christian is a spiritual identification. They are not the same. And so just because Donald Trump and the Proud Boys claim to be Christians and they shun Black trans lives is not an accurate representation of what it is to be a Christian. So I want us to not throw the baby out with the bathwater, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Because like we're real Christians. And Jesus stood up for people who still was living in their sin. Like the woman caught in adultery was literally caught in the act of adultery. And they was like, we got to stone her. He was like, well, who was among you without the sin? Let him throw the first stone. You know what I'm saying? A woman at the well, she had 5 husbands. You know what I'm saying? She was living foul. And Jesus still loved on that woman and, you know what I'm saying, conversed with her. I just, that's real Christianity and that's real Christ love. And that's what we're to exude as Christians. So I want us to like be careful not to just because somebody else claims that they're Christians, be like, I don't want to identify with that. We got to stand up and be like, that's not Christianity. This is real Christianity instead of being like, I seen a tweet. It was like, don't try to be so woke. You wake up in hell because you didn't denounce your faith, but like own your faith. And like, I think we need to, like, as Black people, especially as real Black solid believers, plant the flag of like being woke and in love with Jesus and show people how it's done instead of like I just don't want us to denounce Christ in the name of trying to love on Black people when we can do that because that's what Christ called us to do as Christians anyway. Am I making sense?
Oh no, you
Absolutely.
definitely make sense with that. It's just that
Okay.
like I said before, as far as like the complacency is concerned, and people not holding each other accountable for how people express hatred towards other people within our own community, I feel as if we need to have more of that established
I agree
because
with that.
there are definitely a lot more people like you out there, but their voices aren't being heard. Whenever I
100%.
see whenever I see someone who claims to be a Christian, I see the person who hates gays. I see the person who hates other people. Like, I don't see a lot of love exuding from that person. I see, what's the word I'm looking for? Self-righteousness.
Yeah, judgment. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, I get that, they're not genuine Christians. They're not Christ-like, but at the same time, it's like, it's still that same institution. And I was talking about before about like, our relationship versus religion. Like, when I'm talking about Christianity, I'm talking about more so like the institution and how it's not really out here protecting other people within our own community. Like I kind of want us to like
I can't agree with
think,
that. I can't agree with that because Christianity as an institution is literally God's big C church. And so the church as an institution is doing that. I think I just can't. I think we just disagree on the terminology because I would say that's just it sounds like conservatism because the institution is literally the body of believers. It's us. Despite what building or what people say out their mouth, you can say you in a garage, I'll make you a car. You know what I'm saying? Just because you go to a certain church or have a certain scripture in your bio, you know what I'm saying? I'll make you something. But I just
God first.
I can't.
I think I understand what you're saying though. Like I think I kind of get what you mean. Stuff like, are you talking about? Because like maybe like people are like outcasts in the church and their voices aren't heard and they're like excluded, and like there are people who claim to be Christians and like their voices are the ones that are heard, but like they're the hypocrites and they're not really exemplifying what God's love is.
Right. It's like the people who have the platform in the religion right now are not really speaking and advocating for other people who have been oppressed by the people who are supposed to help everyone else in the community. Like that's what I'm more so speaking on. And it's like, I know like we might have had like some terminology use issues and stuff because I use institution as like religion itself. You know what I mean? And like how we have different denominations of Christianity that have been like used to kind of like take advantage of the Black community and our people as a whole. So like I just use that word in a different way, So that's probably where the disconnect came from.
Talita, you can go ahead.
One thing that I've seen, I watch TikTok a lot. I watch TikToks a lot. So I seen this girl and she said, and I feel like there are two types of Christians out there. There are religious Christians and there are relationship Christians. And people who live religiously don't know how to correct people in love. And I feel like and I feel like when it comes to media and the news, all you see is bad stuff. And that's not Christians' fault. That's not the church's fault that people politicize bad stuff or they don't put light on the things that they do to help other people or people who aren't like exactly like them. And then I think another issue is we haven't been taught to correct one another in love. That's a big thing that I feel like that we need to learn as Christians. And also another thing is we can't put our faith in people. So yes, we see all these bad things happening, but we can't expect people not to be people. Like even if they are Christians, we can't expect them to be correct all the time. We can't expect them not to hurt people. We can't expect them not to do bad things. And that's the difference between being where you have relationship and religion. Because people who have religion expect Christians to be perfect, expect Christians not to hurt them, expect Christians to just be this wonderful thing. And then people who have religion understand that forgiveness is something you have to use daily. So yes, the person who is a Christian, yes, they might have hurt me or might have said something or might have belittled me, but that's something that I have to realize that they're human, they're not God. Then I have to go to God to help me pray for them, to help, me forgive them and do stuff like that. So I feel like a lot of people think, one, they put Christians on a pedestal, like we're supposed to be perfect and we're not. And then two, we're supposed to love people, but a lot of people have religion, they don't have relationship. People who have relationship are going to love people who are gay, who are going to love people who are different. And they're not going to just love them and tell them, that, necessarily what they're doing is right. They're going to love them regardless of their decision. Like, I had a best friend who was gay for years, and that didn't make the way I loved her any different. And yes, I told her, I don't believe in what you're doing, but that didn't make me love her or treat her any different. That's the difference between a Christian who is religious and a Christian with relationship. And I feel like a lot of people, they don't know the difference. And you have to be able to realize that there is a difference. And all of us we might all claim to be Christian, but we're not all the same, because there's a really, really big difference.
I'm gonna let Chastity go and then Tavon, and then I'm gonna move on to my next question. Why'd you raise your hand? Oh, okay. Tavon, did you wanna elaborate or add anything? Me and Tavon, we have a lot of conversations similar to this on a daily basis. So, Tavon, would you like to add anything before I state my piece?
No, Daquan and Talia said everything that I was gonna say. So.
Okay, so I'm gonna just go back for, I guess. So now it's gonna be about Danae. It's gonna be about Danae's confusion, which is why this whole YouTube thing is even about. For my own confusion, my own whatever, because I know everybody's just confused as I am. Maybe some of y'all's more well put together. Maybe some, just help me understand, help the viewers understand. So my thing is, everyone knows that I don't mess with white people, like, at all. And I didn't grow up in no household like that. My mother told me to love everybody and love them unconditional. And I do. I love everybody from the bottom of my heart. I don't want to not like white people, but me knowing all the things that they have done, continue to do, and are benefiting from to this day, very much it angers me and it frustrates me. And it's gone beyond the point of me really praying to God. Like, when I was younger, always prayed. When when Trayvon Martin was killed, I prayed to God. Like, I was crying myself. I was crying to God, like, what's going on? Why? Come to find out, this was happening for years before I was born, years before I could understand. And so for me, being a Christian wasn't fulfilling my pain. It wasn't fulfilling my my physical pain. From that point forward, I was very angry when I found these new readings on just spirituality and what that really was. It made me feel better versus me saying, well, I can go to one specific deity and I can go talk to that person who I may not see until the afterlife. But now I'm rambling. The question was, for me, I mean, what advice would y'all give me as the what y'all say? Y'all said the radical Black person. What would y'all give me to reflect more genuine kindness to my evil demons that lurks around me on the daily basis? Yes, Chastity.
Me, I'm gonna go. Okay, so I feel you, because like when I was in high school, like when Mike Brown was killed, and like Philando Castile, and like back in 2015 when like I really had like a wake up call of like how unfair like our Black plight is. Like I was just like, okay, this is trash, God. I don't like white people and they suck. Forget all of them, they're trash. And when I came to Wesley and my friends were like, Chaz, you're racist, this is bad, like you should not say that you hate white people. And I was like, bro, y'all are crazy because look at us.
Yes, y'all say this to me on the daily basis.
I'm not racist. I was like, I'm not racist. But I think like it was like, honestly, if I can be completely honest, like when I joined the dance team and I was like one of two Black girls and everybody else was white, I really had to like get used to them and like really get to know who they were as people and not like base like what their ancestors did on like my relationship with them. Like I'm knowing Brittany for Brittany, I'm knowing Kayla for Kayla, and I'm not looking at Kayla and seeing a slave master. I'm looking at like, this is who you are as a person. And when I really like got to build relationships with them, I was like, okay, they're not half bad. They're pretty cool. And I think it's just like with hate, you can only get so far. Like me hating Natalie, me hating Jason, that's not going to do nothing for me. Like I'm gonna just be upset. And Jason didn't do nothing to me for real. I mean, he might not understand why I say Black Lives Matter. He might not understand why I fight so hard. That's on Jason. But like me hating him is not going to do anything for me. It's just like I have to pray for him and keep it pushing and know that like, God has a specific purpose for like my life. He has a specific purpose for the world, and however it happens, that's however it's gonna happen, and I have to be content and okay with that because God has like our best interests in mind. And so like if we supposed to have the short end of the stick, we just got to roll with the punches. I mean, it's not like the best, but we've been doing okay. I mean, I guess just God has a plan for us, and hate can only get us so far. And so I feel like, I mean, just
no,
like
but like your explanation is exactly why some I'm gonna say radical just for the sake of the conversation. Why some radical pro-Black people are just like, I can't fade being a Christian because like even though Natalie did not do nothing to me, but Natalie is still not helping me like as a human. Like I feel that.
I'm so glad I was about to piggyback on my baby's point. So I'm doing a devotion on anger because I have a bad temper. And one thing that I was reading the other day, I think I was telling you this already too, was that like anger is not necessarily a bad thing because God even feels anger. There's such thing as a righteous anger. You know what I'm saying? But your anger can either drive you to, like you said, to hate, which is a fleshly, worldly anger, or which is destructive and destruction, or it can drive you toward a righteous anger, which is constructive and builds construction. Right. And so if I, babe, you need to turn this AC on. She been here burning me up. Didn't want to crack windows. Look, but anyway, if you I'm trying to keep my train of thought, but like when you hate, you cause division. You're like, I don't mess with white people. I'm not gonna talk to them. Right. But if you have a righteous anger about racism and stuff, yeah, and then Bethany is cool because she don't say racist stuff to you or nothing like that. Yeah, I picked the whitest name I could come up with. But like challenge Bethany to be like, hey sis, you need to talk to your auntie because she was wilding on Facebook. Or you need to talk to your friend or whatever, like, because to be an ally is not to be silent. That's complicity. We're gonna need to challenge you to stand with us. So I think that is a construct. You're building something and you're building a partnership, and then their action along, but they got to understand. So it takes some conversation before you can be an ally. But I think people think being a Christian means like just love them, give them a hug and forgive them. It's going to be okay. That's cool stuff, bro. That's what they was trying to teach us to do way back. That's not what we're doing. That's not what Christ called us to. That's not what we're doing. You keep right, you think I'm playing. But yeah, just to build on to Chastity's point. Thank you. Go to action.
Please, Talia, elaborate.
Okay, to build on to what they were saying. Oh, your stuff start recording. Yeah, that's okay. First, I feel like people don't think that God sees that we're angry,
Mm-hmm.
right? And he knows. And when we're angry, like he feels those emotions. So it's not like God, I feel like what you were saying is kind of like God kind of pushes our anger to the side, and he doesn't. He doesn't. I feel like a lot of us were brought up to take our emotions and put them on the back burner. But that's not true. And I've realized that as I'm growing in Christ, that God realized and he sits with me when I'm sad. And he's not like, get over it. He doesn't push me to get over those emotions. He sits with me when I'm sad. He sits with me when I'm angry, and he actually feels those emotions with me. So God doesn't, he's not like, don't be angry, don't be angry, don't be angry, because the Bible says be angry and sin not. It doesn't say don't be angry. That's one thing. And then on top of that is
me and you both, Stefan. I'm listening.
On top of that is if you think us Christians are walking around not upset and not also looking at some white people like they crazy, like you got it all wrong. Because I have to ask Holy Spirit for help every day, not to be mad at the white man, because they be doing some crazy stuff. Okay.
Absolutely.
And then so it also comes down to another thing is we expect God to, because he is a just God. And we think that he's not a just God because he doesn't do stuff on our time in the way we want him to do.
Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, how do you expect God to forgive you and not be angry at you, and then let you have time to make your life right, let you correct your mistakes, and knowing that you sin against him every day? Like we make him angry when we sin against him. Like we do bad things towards him that he doesn't deserve all the time. And when we go to God, it's like, oh, thank you for forgiving me over and over and over and over and over again every day. And not, sin equals death. We're literally supposed to die and go straight to hell. And it's like God constantly gives us all of this time to fix it, and he doesn't, strike us dead right when we sin. But it's like we expect him to do that with other people. We expect him to automatically strike them dead or do bad things or deliberately give them pain when they do something wrong, but that's not of God. And he doesn't do that. He doesn't do that to us. So why should we expect him, even though white people, they be doing a lot of crazy stuff, but it's crazy for us to expect him to punish them for what they do automatically when he doesn't do us that way.
We're going to go ahead and go, y'all, because Talia's full. We're going to leave you in Talia's hands. She's full tonight. She's going to continue to preach. God bless you, sister.
All right.
Spirit is full.
Thank you. It was nice meeting y'all. Thank you.
Nice meeting you too.
All right. Go ahead, Stefan.
Can I jump in before I forget my point?
Please do, Tavon. Because
My
Stefan
point
about to talk too.
My point is, we don't want to ever become them.
Right.
With our mindsets. Because honestly, I talk my junk about them all day.
I know you do. Right. I know it.
But that is my mindset. Like, I don't want to ever become them. I don't want that hatred and that oppressive spirit, or want to be oppressive spirit in me. And because that being mad at white people all day, every day, it takes up too much space inside of us.
Right.
It's frustrating. Right. It's exhausting. And Lord knows, God knows, it's a daily fight. But we don't want to ever become them. Because then, and the way I see it, and I know this one on YouTube, and I really don't care. All those slave masters and everybody come after them that was being racist, they aren't true Christians, and they're going to hell anyways. And the way I see it, it's gonna be more black people than white people, if we're gonna be honest. If we just be honest, that's the way I see it. Because racism isn't heaven is not gonna be segregated. As much as they want it to be, it's not going to be. And as much as our black selves want it to be, it's not going to be. That's what all I'm saying is, like, we can't take on their mindset. We can't take on their thoughts, because at the end of the day, it's not going to do us no good. Just like it ain't doing them no good.
Thank you, Tavon. Y'all, you yourself, Tavon, Talia, Chastity, Herbu, y'all made very good points, and I do not discredit none that y'all said. Y'all were speaking facts, no matter what point of, no matter where it came from, no matter it was very accurate, honestly. Like I relate and I understand. So I know other radical folks will be able to understand. They might not they may not like what you said, but it makes sense. And I'm gonna have a conclusion video after this, after I post this one. But Stefan, you can go.
Like I was saying before, how like if we had Jesus here today, you know, in the same way that he was, you know, in the biblical days, they would not like him. The way Jesus would talk about the rich and a lot of the principles that our capitalist society, you know, puts out, you know, that's not in line with what, you know, Jesus was teaching everyone. And not only that, Jesus was over there at the temples messing some stuff up too.
Right.
I don't know the exact scripture. I ain't trying to like say everything, but you know, Jesus wasn't necessarily the most like, peaceful person when people were not acting right. You know, that's just how it is. At some point, you will have to raise some noise, and at some point, you will have to make some people uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like I said before, the indoctrinated Christianity that we're all still seeing parts of today has allowed people to become complacent and has allowed people to like forget about, you know, some of the principles of Jesus where, you know, you obey the law of the land, but at the same time, if it's not with God, then, you know, you do what you got to do. Like there's a difference between like, you know, like for example, like let's just say it's part of our society to like, you know, rape and eat kids or something like that. That ain't of the Lord. If you can go up against that, you have full total autonomy to go up against what's not right. But just the way that Christianity was taught to us is like it's a sin for you to disobey the law. It's a sin for you to go up against the establishment. But that's not the case.
And I just want to go back real quick to Leah on what you said. Because again, like I said, you and Chastity's answers is what a lot of like radical pro Black people just cannot stand by. Because we understand that, you know, because again, we didn't choose this lifestyle. We didn't want to choose to like really reject them. Them being white people. We didn't want to choose to, you know, we were fine. You know, we believe that there's a time, and the time is always now, to revolutionize and to, oh my God, I'm about to buy this stuff. To revolutionize and to correct the mistakes of what their ancestors have done. We just believe that white people of today should own up to their mistakes, which they probably won't ever do. But we just hope and try to preach and scream from the mountaintops that, hey, y'all.
Some of them have though. I've met I mean, you can't expect all.
Oh no, we're not saying all.
It's the one or two that you meet that have, because I've met some who like have, because when they realize how bad we have been treated, they go through the stages of grief, and they end up at the point where they're like hating themselves, right? And I've met people who have literally like been in there, like when they're by themselves, like crying over the fact that they're white, because of all the oppression that their people has been through. And it's like, just like, it's like you have to meet them. It's not all of them, and it's not going to, all of them are not good. Some white people are just set in their ways.
Mm-hmm.
They just are. But it's about the one or two that do step up. It's about the one or two that are willing to, you know, like I've seen protests where like the whole front line is just white people in front of the police. But it's like you can't, it's like the same thing with Christianity. We overlook the good people because there are a few bad, or the majority is bad. We overlook the few that are good, the few that do sit, the few that called and told the FBI that their parents was at the what was it?
The Capitol.
At the Capitol. Like we overlook those because of the hatred of the ones that we see on the hatred that we have for the ones that we see on the news, and the hatred for that one that said something out the way that was real crazy. Like, we overlook the ones who do actually love us and love us for who we are. And see, I know, because my best friend married a white man, and I have conversations with him, and he's like, he knows his privilege, and he does everything, and it's the people who go out of their way to like pull us up also. It's like you can't overlook the few because of the many who are wrong.
Yeah, and I also want to add on to that as well too, as far as like pride. I hate the whole concept of pride, especially like Black pride, because it really blinds us in ways that could really, better ourselves in the future. Like, my whole thing of pride started off with Avatar: The Last Airbender. Iroh said, "Pride is not the opposite of shame, but it's the source." And just associating your Blackness with pride is such a dangerous and toxic place to be in, because then you'll forget everything that, like, you limit yourself in your abilities because you're trying so hard to be self-reliant. Now, it's good to a certain extent, but if you have too much of it, it could really hurt you in the long run. And it's that pride that makes you want to just totally throw away everything that like white people have set before you, in a sense. And that includes Christianity as well. It's like, we don't need the white man's religion. We don't need this. We don't need that. But then you forget how we are able to innovate our own branches of Christianity that's been able to help us, in the long run. You know, we forget about, how like we've turned something that was so horrible and wretched into something beautiful. Just because white people have touched it doesn't mean that we can't interact with it still, you know. And just because we understand how powerful white people are doesn't mean that we just have to totally disregard and trash white people for that. We don't all have to be Dr. Umars out here in these streets, you feel me? Like, that's really how I feel right now. It's like, there was a point in time where, like, I confused Black love and self-love with Black pride, and that's definitely not the case, because I can love myself and love everyone else on that same energy. But if I'm just going to sit here and just trash white people just for the simple fact that they're white, even if they don't know anything about how they got to where they are today in society, that's me just being insecure. That's me hating my circumstances. That's not me trying to be a part of the solution. You know what I mean?
Thank you,
Like,
Stephon. That was good. That was very good. Tavon,
Can I jump on that?
I might say I want your closing statements right now, please.
I just want to jump on what Stephon said real quick. In regards to the Black church, like he said, we took something that the white man gave us and made it beautiful. The Black church is beautiful in every sense of that word. Yes, there are a few bad parts, and that's just something that needs to be dealt with altogether in a different conversation. But we, like I said, we took it and we made different denominations. And out of those denominations came our best lawyers, our teachers, our top people. You get what I'm saying? Like, we made it beautiful.
I
Um,
do.
and we went to like unknown limits with it. And it's a beautiful thing to see. And even how we interact with each other inside the church is a beautiful thing. We took something from Africa called the African ring dance, and we turned into shouting, or a praise break as we called it. Like, we still kept in touch with our roots. You get what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
if you ever stand in a service and you see a praise break and just stand there and look, it is the one of the most beautiful things. Because we're the only ones that express our love that way for
I
our
know
sake.
it. Mm-hmm,
And it is so beautiful. But yeah, that's all. And like you said, my closing remark is, we don't want to ever take on their mindset.
Thank you. Again, I learned so much in this panel. I always do when I speak to you all. Like, y'all are such bright people. Y'all know what y'all talking about. Y'all are invested in what y'all beliefs are, and I love it. And I'm just beyond grateful to just be a part of it. When Tamon, when you mentioned how Christianity is in Africa, my only thing I'm gonna just quickly throw my little punch in is just the fact that it wasn't labeled as Christianity back then. And so you're right, and I think that's where my issue is. Like, I'm fine with the idea of like knowing what's life. I mean, what your soul does after you die. And I think that's what religion is for me. Religion to me on any level is just the confirmation of what your soul is going to be while you're on this earth, what the purpose is and stuff like that. That's always been my definition of religion, no matter what the circumstance is or whatever. But I think my whole issue with Christianity and even that word, that label, is just the fact that I know it's been touched, and that I know that because since it has been touched, it's been tarnished. And so if and as Black people, we do restore, we do gain power to anything that we have been, anything that's been wronged, we naturally cater, we are loving people. So I do understand that, and I'm fine with that. I really am. I just wish that it wasn't touched the way that it was, and maybe I can understand it for what it truly is and not for what it's been manipulated to be. What else was I going to say? But again, y'all all said very good points. Like, I, as a person who knows the Bible also, because my mother and because of myself when I was younger, I definitely, y'all go hard for real. And yeah, like I said, I'm gonna do a part 2 video, not part 2 video, because I'm gonna end up splitting this in 2 parts anyway. But y'all really blessed me. Y'all really just opened my mind up. I really have come to the conclusion that just labels suck, because even during y'all discussion, y'all branched off Christianity to 2 different parts. Y'all branched off Jewish people to Catholicism to different parts. There's a place for everybody in this world, and it should not matter where we stand, because one, like I said, we're human. We should all just be humans first. But yeah, it really don't matter. And being pro-Black, being Christian, I mean, you decide, viewers, what y'all think. I don't really, I mean, y'all changed my mind as far as like, cause I never really cared, but hey, it is what it is. Thank you. Y'all were amazing. Give yourselves a round of applause. This joint about to be over in 3, 2, 1. Bye. How do I do this? Okay.